The power of baby steps on the weight loss journey. Let's talk about it. Hi guys, thank you so much for being here with me today on this video. My name is Angela and thank you for coming and spending a little time out with me today. So guys, in this video I wanted to just talk to you about the power that lies in taking baby steps on your weight loss journey. If you're new here on this channel, then thank you so much for being here. And if you've been here before, then it's great to have you back. So guys, I have lost to date 173 pounds. That is 12 stone, 3 pounds. And I'm not done yet. Still got a little bit of a little way to go. But one of the key tools that I've used is baby steps. Now, if you've been here before, you'll know that I am a weight loss and wellness coach, and I really strongly believe in the power of mindset. I'm a mindset coach, and I believe that with the right mindset we can achieve anything. And I've sort of worked on my mindset in order to achieve my weight loss. But within that, one of the things that has really worked for me is taking baby steps. And we're going to talk about that today because I really believe that taking baby steps is the most sustainable way of achieving weight loss and keeping it off. I really believe that. So I'm going to cover a couple of key areas on this topic, so feel free to stay with me right to the end. So the power of baby steps lies in the ability to promote sustainable habits for life and to help us to change and keep the momentum going as well without us feeling overwhelmed. And, you know, you may have been like me, having been on multiple weight loss journeys over the years, and we go for the strategy that's going to give us the largest amount of weight loss in the shortest amount of time. And, you know, there could be all sorts of reasons why people want to do that. They may have a holiday or a wedding or an occasion coming up and they want to do that. But if you really want to lose weight for good without it coming back, then taking those baby steps, I really believe, is the best way to go. So what do I mean by baby steps? Let's just explore this a little bit. What I mean by that is taking the journey step by step, small steps, and managing your expectations around weight loss. When I was a coach, I used to see people wanting to take big leaps. They wanted to lose 2 or 3 pounds every week, or, you know, a stone a month. Now, for some people, that is very doable, especially if they've got a huge amount of weight. Then to lose, that is very possible. Some people can lose 30 pounds in, you know, 30 days, or, you know, 10 stones in a year. For some people, that is very possible. But for most people, I would always encourage going really steady, really slow, and learning about yourself in that process. So baby steps is not rushing to lose weight, taking your time, making those mistakes, forgiving yourself, dusting yourself off, and carrying on. So you're taking your weight loss journey really steady. So I'm going to go into some reasons why that is a really good strategy and how that has helped me on my journey to losing weight. Before I do that, let me just explain that I've lost 12 stone, 3 pounds. It has taken me 6 years and 7 months to do that, so by no means fast. It averages out at about a pound, half a pound a week. That's my average. And also, for full disclaimer, the last 3 stones of that 12 stone I've lost on Manjaro because I'm type 2 diabetic. So my first 9 stone I lost, and then the last 3 stones I've lost on Manjaro. So when we take our journey really steady, really yeah, I'm steering away from the word slow, because it's not necessarily slow for everybody. It was for me, but again, that also depends on your expectations, because some people might see a pound a week weight loss as slow. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to use that word slow. I'm going to use the word steady. One reason that taking baby steps is so important, because it helps us from feeling overwhelmed, and also helps us to stick with our program, our system, our method, whether it be Weight Watchers, Slimming World, you know, paleo, carnivore, Atkins, you name it, whatever the program, the system is. It's easy to get overwhelmed if we have expectations of losing lots of weight in a short amount of time. But when we're trying to overhaul our lifestyle, what we eat, our entire eating method, you know, our routine for activity overnight, that can feel like a massive mountain, and it can feel really daunting and unsustainable. So imagine saying, you know, I'm never going to eat bread again, or I'm never going to eat biscuits, or I'm never going to drink alcohol. If those things are part of your weekly or regular routine, then trying to get rid of those all at once, it's can be daunting. The same as if, you know, you've never been in a gym before, and all of a sudden you take out a gym membership and you're going to go to the gym. That can feel really overwhelming, especially if we're not used to being in gyms and using equipment. So things like that can make us feel overwhelmed, and it can be daunting. And what's going to happen? We're likely going to give up. But when we take those baby steps, we can just break down a goal into small steps. So, for example, if you say you want to get fitter and stronger, instead of thinking, right, let me just take out a gym membership, you may decide, you know what, I'm going to go for a walk every day and build it up. And even that, instead of saying I'm going to walk 5 miles, it may be, let me just walk, you know, to my corner shop or to the bus stop. Or instead of saying I'm going to walk for an hour every day, maybe just start doing 5 minutes. Yeah, and then just build it up really, really slowly. It could be you say, I'm gonna stop eating bread. So it may just be that you think, okay, I'll just, instead of having bread every day, I'll just have it 6 days a week. So we just reduce it by 1 day at a time. We can build it up nice and slowly. So another reason why taking baby steps is really important is because it can build our confidence and our motivation. And each small step that we take can help us to feel that sense of accomplishment and achievement. And, you know, that can be a really, really good feeling for us. And this positive reinforcement, and when we feel like that, it can really build our confidence. It can also motivate us to continue taking that action and doing a little bit more and taking more little steps. I remember when I started my journey and I was so unwell. I wanted to go out and walk, but all I can do was literally get off my drive and walk to the end of the grove. And that was a massive challenge in itself. the thought of walking for an hour, couldn't do it. So I, for a week or so, literally put my trainers on, put my clothes on, and walked to the end of the grove and walked back. And then over time, I think it was maybe a week or so, I thought, let me challenge myself. So I walked to the corner shops and I found I could do that. And then I did that for a couple of weeks. And then I used to drive to my nature centre, and from the car I used to walk to the first bench, and then over time to the second bench, over time to the third bench, until I could walk the entire nature centre. It took me about a year and a half, 2 years to do that, but I built it up really slowly. And then it got to the point where I could actually leave my house and now walk to the nature centre and walk all the way around it and walk back home. And the sense of achievement and accomplishment was huge. It felt like I'd run a marathon, but I built it up nice and slowly, nice and steadily. That built my confidence, it built my self-belief, and it made me believe, do you know what, I can do anything. And even like when I started on my weight loss journey, just setting myself tiny little goals about, you know, getting into the next clothes size, you know, doing the notch on my belt a little bit tighter, you know, there's half a stone increments on the scales, all of those things, feeling fit and strong, great motivation, great encouragement. So these little wins, what it does, it creates positive feedback in a loop to ourselves. So, you know, we do something, you know, really tiny, we accomplish it, we feel good, we want to do it again, and we keep repeating that loop, you know. So the more we're out doing those little 5-minute walks, the stronger, the fitter we get, we feel good about ourselves, it makes us want to go back out the next day. So, you know, it builds that positive feedback as a loop, and that can make us believe in ourselves and also in our abilities to accomplish things. So taking those baby steps, absolutely crucial. The next area that I want to cover is, you know, when we take baby steps, it helps to foster new habits gradually. Now, as you know, we're all creatures of habit, and trying to break old habits, as I'm sure you will agree with me, it is tough. And sometimes those old habits can really creep back. And, you know, I used to see that a lot with myself and also with my clients when I was a weight loss coach, was we'd see people losing huge amounts of weight very quickly. But then as soon as they go on holiday or they have an occasion, they gain weight. And then they find it really hard to get that weight off. And then it was like with me, you know, it started off really quickly before lockdown. Then lockdown came, like with so many people, I saw weight gain. And then to get that off, it was really, really challenging. Or another one was, you know, I'd do really well all year, and then come Christmas, I'd put 3 or 4 pounds on, and it would take me till Easter to get the weight off. So when we take baby steps, it helps us to build habits and to reinforce those habits. So, and when we try and reinforce those and those habits are in place, there's no need to try and break them, because we've built new habits that are really strong, and they're replacing all of those old habits. And allowing and taking those baby steps, just taking those baby steps, what that does, it allows us to focus on changing just one habit at a time, just one thing at a time. Because again, if we're trying to change everything, if we're trying to change the way we cook, you know, the way we shop, the way we how much we eat, we're managing our portions, trying to get down the gym, and we do it all, and still having to go to work and manage the family and the home. Trying to do all of that can be really, really overwhelming. And if we're overwhelmed, what's going to happen? We're likely to give up. So when we take those habits really steady and focus on maybe just one change each week or every couple of weeks, it then becomes part of our routine, and then before you know it, it starts to feel natural. And as we get comfortable with that habit, we can build another habit in, and then we can start stacking those habits. So to give you an example, whenever I boil the kettle, I will just do some movement. So I might do a few squats or a few knee raises. I might do a few stretches or do some press ups against the work surface whilst the kettle's boiling. So again, I'm building that habit loop, and just building activity in nice and steady. The next thing to consider when we're taking baby steps on our journey is it can help us to minimize that all or nothing thinking. And this is a really common pitfall that I know myself and many people that I worked with, we fall into, believing that if we make a mistake, if we have a slip up, then we've ruined everything. So it may be, I've eaten one biscuit too many, so I might as well eat the packet. Or I said I wasn't going to have any crisps. Well, I've had a bag now. Well, I might as well just have the lot. Yeah. Or we talk to ourselves and say things like, I always fail whenever I try to lose weight, so what's the point of trying? So it's that all or nothing mindset. And that's a really dangerous mindset to have. But when we take baby steps, it helps us to appreciate that having a minor deviation is just that. It's just minor. It's nothing major. If we've eaten a biscuit too many, it's nothing that we can't move on from. If we didn't go for that walk that we promised ourselves, it's not going to ruin your weight loss results of the week or the month. It's just recognizing that, what's important is being consistent. And consistent isn't about doing something every single day. Consistency is about looking at over a period of time and measuring the progress. So yeah, it just helps us to minimize that all or nothing mindset, but also allows us to move forward on our journey with grace and with compassion. The next area that I think that taking baby steps is so critical on the journey is it promotes self-awareness. It helps us to be aware of ourselves, of our bodies, how we think, our mindset, and the habits that we've already got and the habits that we're trying to change and bring in new ones. So when we make small, just very small, even micro habits, tiny little habits, and intentional and focused changes, we're going to be able to notice how those changes are impacting our bodies, our energy levels, and our mood. And this can then increase our self-awareness and help us to understand what really truly works for us. Yeah, and that can lead to helping us put in place strategies that are personal for us and that fits with us and our lifestyle. So to give you an example, years ago, I was a late night. So to give you an example, years ago, I'd be working on the computer watching TV, watching videos and stuff till like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And what that did was the next morning I would wake up late. I'd feel really tired and really sluggish. Didn't have the energy to walk, so I was rushing every morning. Because I was up late on the night watching movies, whatever, I hadn't prepared my lunch or my breakfast, hadn't prepared any meals. So when I woke up in the morning and I was running late, I was just grabbing anything I could to eat. And that was usually high sugar, high fat. Used to stop off at McDonald's to get me McDonald's breakfast and a hot chocolate. Yeah. Then go to work, felt awful and was crashing about 11, 12 o'clock. Then I'd go out for a walk and then I'd go and buy a sandwich, high carbs, usually with loads of mayo or, something like that on. In the afternoon, couldn't keep my eyes awake. So I'd be on the fizzy drinks, thinking, oh, it's caffeine, that's going to help me. And then by the time I managed to get home, I had no energy. I just wanted to curl up and sleep. So what did I do? I would go and get a takeaway or order food in. And then after that, I'd have a bath. Now I was all perky and alert. And then I was back to watching movies and watching, TV on the computer, on the laptop, whatever, till 2, 3 in the morning. And then the cycle would start again. And when I started my weight loss journey back in 2019, I learned that I have to look at my habits. And that was one habit that I started looking at. So I would start prepping my meals. On a Sundays, I would be batch cooking and batch preparing my meals for the week. On the night, that I was going to work the next day, I would prep and have my breakfast ready, have my lunch ready, and then I would get to bed early, have a good sleep, and then I'd wake up in the morning more energized. Even if I was running late, I used to prep my clothes and everything, but even if I was running late, my lunch was done, my breakfast was done, my mid-morning snack was done. Take that to work, eating that, getting out for a walk at lunchtime, and then I was more productive. I felt well, I was clearer-headed, and then it started to make a big difference on my weight loss journey because I started to see results because I was eating well and I was more organised. I was feeling really so much better about myself. So yeah, having that self-awareness can really come when you have take those baby steps, make those micro habits. And if I was going for fast weight loss, I mean, I was, when you're running on adrenaline and stress, you can lose a lot of weight, but it's not good. It's not good. So when I started really slowing it down and really thinking about what I was doing and then changing just tiny, tiny, tiny little things like prepping my breakfast, prepping my lunch, batch cooking my meals on a Sunday, making those small changes, I was setting myself up for success. So yeah, taking those baby steps can really help us with that. So when we do those things, the 6th point that I'm going to come to is when we take baby steps, we are building sustainable habits for life. For life. And, extreme weight loss plans and programs and systems, intensive exercise regimes, they work. I'm not denying that they will work. You will lose weight, you will shape up, you will tone up, but usually only in the short term. And we've seen so many people go on extreme programs. They go for fast weight loss, and what happens? Not everybody, but some people gain that weight back or, you know, they lose their fitness levels. So, you know, taking baby steps is about making really steady and gradual change that's manageable and that's going to result in a lifestyle change that we can maintain forever. And when we do that, I really believe that is the key to losing weight and keeping it off. And within all of that, let me just say, we also need to manage those expectations too about the results that baby steps are going to bring us. My journey has been completely baby steps. It's taken me 6 years and 7 months to lose 12 stone, 3 pounds, with an average of £0.5 a week. That's my average, £0.5 a week. That is real baby steps. And sometimes I'd not lose anything for weeks and months, but I was seeing my body change. Sometimes if I did lose weight, it could be even £0.5 a month on average. So it's managing those expectations as well when we're taking baby steps. And I think when we shift the mindset to acknowledge that and to accept that, we're always going to get to our goal and we're always going to keep it off. Let me just add here very quickly that at the start of my journey, I say I lost about 4 stone and then regained some of that during COVID, because I wasn't, you know, I was after that fast weight loss. It wasn't fast, maybe it's £1 a week was fast for me. But then once I understood the process of baby steps and started to make that mindset shift, then the scales, the numbers were no longer the issue for me. It was taking those steady, tiny lifestyle changes, and that is what's brought me to 12 stone 7 pounds off at the moment. So I just want to wrap this video up by giving you a few examples of baby steps for weight loss. So if we're talking nutrition, maybe you think about swapping one sugary drink for water. So, you know, if you have like, you know, squash, or like you enjoy a fizzy drink, nothing wrong in that at all. But if you drink a lot of that throughout the day, maybe just think about swapping one of those fizzy drinks a day or a week for some cold water or warm water. Another baby step could be just having an extra portion of vegetables with your dinner, or maybe just having 1 potato less, or having, you know, if like me back in the day, I used to literally scoop up the rice and my plate was just completely filled with rice, and then the meat and the vegetable and everything went on top. Maybe just start by just having 1 spoonful of rice less, yeah, just reducing it just a tiny bit. Maybe if you go for white bread, maybe swap it for wholemeal bread for 1 meal. If you like your white bread as a sandwich, maybe just swap to wholemeal just for 1. It could be 1 sandwich a week, or, you know, if you have toast for breakfast, maybe one day you have wholemeal for breakfast instead of white. Just tiny change. Maybe it's then about looking at your plate and maybe just either going down to a smaller plate for your meals, or just filling your plate with just a little less food, just a little less. Or it could be that when you've got your serving of food, you just leave a little bit of food left on your plate. So you don't finish your plate, you just got a little bit left, maybe a mouthful or 2, just a small amount. And before you know it, all of these little changes will soon add up. In terms of activity, it may be that you say, I'm going to get out and do a 5 minutes walk every day if you don't get out to walk. It could be that if you do walk, maybe just do 5 minutes extra. Or if you go to the gym, maybe do, you know, a couple of reps on your favourite machine extra, or, you know, a few extra reps on your favourite workout. Just do a few little. Maybe do a few squats with either with weights or kettlebell, but, you know, with a resistant band, or even if you haven't got that, you know, next time you boil the kettle, just do a few squats. Or it may be that, you know, you just stand up and stretch, you know, every few minutes. Every time you go to boil the kettle, you stretch. So try and link it with something. So yeah, you know, it doesn't have to be massive, just tiny changes, and over time they build up, and you can start to see a difference, because it's helping us to put in place sustainable habits for life. So guys, I hope that that's helped you today. So guys, there we go. What I'd love to know is, what's one baby step that you've taken that's made the biggest difference to you on your journey? Or maybe after listening to this video, what's one baby step that you could take? I'd love to know. Drop it in the comments below. So guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you found this useful. That is it from me, and I will see you on the next video. Have a lovely day, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care now. Bye.